What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing the killer dowel pin. This is a 24 valve, it's a 99. Cummins says that the issue ain't past 98.5, but apparently some of the old timing cases got mixed in up to, like, people have reported it on 2000s, and I think even newer than that, up to the 02s. So anyways, this could have it. Before I got this truck, it had a brand new injection pump put on it, and they would have had it all apart, right? But I have no documentation on any of the orders from the Chrysler dealer that say that anything was addressed with the dowel pin. So I'm not sure. This truck's got 170k on it, and I don't really want to ruin the motor, so it's a lovely snowy day outside. It's raining and shitty, so it's a good day to do it, or start on it. I don't know. I got a couple days off here around Christmas time, so we're getting at it right now. So I got the TST killer dowel pin kit here. Got all the stuff over here, and you need your sealer for the timing case. So I didn't get a gasket, decided not to. Comes with the tab. It's red Loctite for the tab when you put it in. Seal. Yeah, that's good for it. Yeah, there's the seal. And we're gonna start getting to her. Okay, so we're gonna start off here. Some guys pull this hose. I'm a small guy. I ain't gonna pull it. I'm just gonna move it out of the way, and I don't gotta mess with any of my coolant stuff, right? I mean, it's right here. We're working right there's the top of the cover, so what I'm gonna do here is yank this hose over and tie it up so it's out of the way. Then I don't gonna mess with any coolant. Then we're gonna get to unhooking the battery cables each side, and then 4 10mm bolts along here that hold this fan shroud on. We're gonna get to them and pull them off. Okay, there we go. Tied that back. Nice room looking down there at the cover now. Both the positives are off, and I just tuck them down in here. Can't touch there, no power going to that. Now we're gonna get to removing the fan shroud, and I think I'm gonna see what it's like. We're gonna do the belt and see what it's like to get out this coolant, shaking there. This coolant reservoir, washer fluid. I think I'm gonna leave that in too. We're gonna see. So we'll get to her. Okay, so you shove your screwdriver in behind there. See those dimples in the tank? It's hard to get light there. There's 2 of them right there. So you shove the screwdriver in there to get those dimples out of the way, and it'll allow this to slide up. There's a sensor right on the bottom there, see it unhooked. I undid that. On the other side here on the coolant tank, I undid the line there. Grab it, flip it up, and then I slid it right under here, and it pinches off the line there, because that'll come up with the fan shroud, I believe. And there's the 2 notches in here. Gotta watch, they might get caught in there a little bit, but this should just slide right up then, and I'll work a way to get it out of the way here. Okay, I popped that up, slid it, it slides underneath the rad hose there, and I just kind of got it wedged right in there. 1 bolt right there, and 1 right at the bottom. Those 2 pieces that come out on your fan shroud bracket, I just yanked them out. 10mm 1/4" drive wrench. Over here, easier to see, they're still in. 1, 2, we'll get them out. Then been saving going underneath, but we'll get, I don't have to go underneath actually, 3/8 on that pulley there. Remove the fan, what do you call that there? The belt. And then we're gonna go to this wonderful bracket right here, and I believe those are 10mm too. Maybe they're bigger. They actually look like 10mm. I think you got to remove those top 2, or 3 actually. There's 3 in there. See them there on that bracket there. and then the fourth one you gotta use a wrench to get to it in between there, and then that'll remove your fan. And then we gotta somehow get this fan shroud off here and the fan carefully. Get a piece of cardboard for in there. If I have one, we're gonna use one and put it in there to protect the rad, because you don't want to poke that thing, right? And yeah, I'll come back to you once we get those bolts out, those bolts down there, and the belt off. Okay, so we got these 3 bolts out up top there. The fourth one, I have my regular 10mm wrench there, but the box end was too fat to fit on it, so I got this stubby here, and it fit in just perfect. So I got in there, shoved it on this bolt here, and just gave it a couple little taps with a hammer. They're not real tight at all, and you'll get them out. Then stuck my 3/8 on there and got my belt loosened. So now we're gonna loosen the belt, or take the belt off, sorry. Don't worry about routing, because your truck should have one of those. It's really handy. And I actually popped off this coolant reservoir. It's sitting right there. You just, so you can see it when it's off here, it's got that same notch up top, just like the washer fluid one, and a spot here. It's got a spot down there it holds two. I actually didn't realize that, but you just shove your screwdriver in between it and this. It'll pry it this away, or squish into the bottle, and then just give it a yank, it'll come right out. And then we got all this room. So I'll get to pulling that bolt and getting the belt off, and we'll get this fan shroud out of here. Okay, voila, we got it out of there. I just wanted to let you guys know, on the bottom of this fan shroud, maybe I didn't read the instructions, but see that thing there? There's wiring down there. I was wondering why I couldn't get the fan up with this around it like it says, and that was why. So once I got the fan out, I could play around with this. Cardboard ended up dropping down there, but I'm just gonna make another piece right now. And yeah, just make sure you get that out. Okay, so that's all out of there. Now we gotta pull out the 4 bolts off the vibration dampener here. They're 15mm. If you have a manual, pop it into gear and you'll be able to pop them off, but this is of course an automatic and is going to need some assistance here. If you have a barring tool, you can throw it in to hold her in place, but we don't, so we're going to pull off the inspection bolts off the torque converter, and we're going to put a pry bar in there on the teeth. Be careful, and have my brother hold that while I crack these bolts loose so the engine doesn't spin and I can pull them off. Here we go. Alright, there's our 4 bolts right there. 15mm, nice and easy to get to. There's our crank seal there, and our crank, I guess. There's the 4 bolts there. I'm not sure if it actually does matter what way that vibration dampener is on. I don't think so, but it had grease on it. It's sitting right here, so I'll let you know here in a second. I've never really actually looked into it, changing one, so I just had grease on it. I put an arrow there, whatever. That's how it is now, so if it doesn't turn over, I should be good. But anyways, it looks like it's in good shape, and we'll clean it up before we put it back on. Next, we'll be getting to taking off this right here, that clamp off your vent there, the thing that makes a mess of your truck, and then we'll get to pulling out all these bolts. Some of these are longer than others. I believe, I'm just going to look at them once I get them out. I believe these ones up here are short, and then these ones here that are all long, because they actually go through into your block. And then once you get over to spots like in behind here where there's no block in behind it, it's just there to hold the cover on. So yeah, we'll pull this off, and I'm gonna spray this out with air and then clean it up so I don't get shit in the engine, and yank it off and see if our fabulous Dodge dealer did do the dowel pin when they were in there, Or if they didn't, or maybe this case is already updated. But hey, peace of mind, right? Hate to lose this motor with 170 something on it, so, or have the timing case go. Had a buddies, came out right in here, busted all, and it's not easy to replace that thing there. You gotta replace the whole, you gotta pull the cam and everything. It's not a good job. So anyways, we'll get to pulling these bolts. Okay, I got that off there. There it is. Let's thread it, turn it counterclockwise. Took about one turn and she came right off. Now I'm gonna get a rag and wipe that off so seal back up, or so the oil won't drip on the floor here. We'll get to cleaning her and pulling the bolts. Okay, so we're all degreased here, cleaned up, all the bolts are out. I'll show you here. I did mark them short LS, that's for long bolt, and then the S is for a stud, that's the LS one. You don't really have to mark them, but I did at the starting. But you'll notice with these long ones, handy there, I'll grab that. Okay, you got your shoulder on it, right? So right here, it's gonna thread in right away. Where the long ones go, you're gonna have, it's gonna thread, go through there, and it's gonna be going into your block. On the short ones, it's just to hold the cover on the timing case. This actually holds the timing case on. So anyways, we'll pry this cover off, be very gentle, we'll pry it off. Okay, so we're off here. Where's the pin here? Here we go. I'll try and get the light on here for an angle. I might have to puzzle with the camera here for a second, or with the light, so just give me a sec. So anyways, it's hard to tell there, but this hole right there, it has a lip right there, see it? So that is the updated cover. See, there's oil sitting in it, so if that dowel pin were to come out, it would come out and hit that lip right there and not come out. So this kit that I have right here for the tab and that there, I think I'm going to keep it because I plan on getting a first gen and this is going to work great for it. So this already has the tab and it's one less thing that'll go wrong that's not tightened. So we got one good bolt in there, update, it's good. So I'm just going to leave it untouched and we'll get to doing some gasket scraping and making a bead. Okay, so we finally got her out, got her all cleaned up. Got it all cleaned up, the backside there. It actually had, I'll grab my light here. It actually is an updated cover, so I never put it on. We talked about that already, so I just yanked the bolt and put some red Loctite on it just in case. And there's two more behind that gear, and I barred the engine over a bit, but the damn thing, I can't get those bolts out, so I just made sure they were tight, or the one was tight, the other one I can't get to, see it's back there. So I just left them, and yeah, now I'm gonna be doing the crank seal. So my other one, I tapped it out with a punch, and now I'm gonna clean the inside lip here, get it all clean, and then you have to take your seal here, clean it up. Got a bit of dirt on it from grabbing it with my hands. Have to wash up. And you have to put red Loctite around the bead here, and then this goes towards the outside. So this is the outside of the cover, so it'll be like that. So you flip it over and you put your tool in here, this tool, put it in there. It's a little bit tight on here, so once I clean it, I'm going to put it in. That sets your depth, and then I noticed I had to use my channel locks to grab it. I practiced once. So you set it down, and then you take your seal here and you put it in, and then it just shows it's a Cummins manual here. It just shows to drive it in with a screwdriver. So it's a TST front crank seal installation, and it's copied from Cummins, replaced by Cummins it says. So that's how you're supposed to pull off your plastic here, and then tap it, start it with a hammer. Don't get it in sideways, whatever you do. I know, I've done it before. And try not to. And then get your screwdriver, a wide one, and tap it in slowly, or a punch, whatever you got. Get it in without damaging it. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, we'll do that now. Okay guys, so it was a little bit tricky. I had this on the cement here, and you can see my Loctite kind of bulging around there a bit. But what I ended up using, which worked awesome, was this pick right here, or punch, sorry. Really nice and wide, and it fit in the corner of this seal here. Just beautiful, right in there. So it didn't hit the yellow at all. Got it driven in, and you can check that by making sure it hits the, it's touched all the way around on the edge of this seal right here. So now we'll pop this, or not seal, this driver installer kit, whatever, we'll pop that out, and we'll put our plastic piece back in, or so when you slide it over the crank it doesn't damage it. Okay, so we got her all sealed here. There's a divots in the middle right in there, and so I put 2 layers of it. The inside I went thin because I didn't want it going into the engine, or not too much, right? So anyways, got the seal installer back on that white piece, and now I'm gonna go, I cleaned both the mating surfaces. I'm gonna go make sure there's no oil that is leaked out underneath the crank there, and there's a couple other journals. Make sure that they're clean. And then we're gonna slide that thing on, and hopefully everything goes smooth. We'll slide it on, hand tighten up all the bolts, and then go to 18 foot-pounds on the bolts after they're all hand tightened. And make sure you pull out the installer. Okay, so we got this on. Seal went fairly good. I actually had the driver on backwards, the plastic sleeve. I wasn't thinking for some reason. I just figured that the big part was to the outside, so you slide it over then to the crank, and then when you pull, you slide it on, and then you just pull the piece off. But I couldn't get it to work, so I pulled it off and realized that the small end isn't even close to the size of the end of the crank. You got to put the big end in, small end out. Then when you push on it, it's tapered for a reason, so it'll taper up. Your crank seal will go over top, and it'll go on. So then I put a couple bolts in down there, up here, kind of squished them in, and got it all snugged in. And then I pulled the seal out, or the driver out, whatever, the installation tool. And now I got a nice little bit of squish on the outside all the way around. And now I'm ready to put back the damper, vibration damper on. So I cleaned up the outsides of it. A little bit rusty, but it definitely doesn't matter what way it was on. I don't know what I was really thinking anymore, or before, but his original should help. It had a bunch of oil on it from the oil spray. So she's all nice and clean now. And yeah, we'll throw this back on and start with the assembly. Okay, our damper's back on. 92 foot-pounds to each one of those, 92 that is. And I guess our next step is, well, I had that loose in there, I had to take that stud off, so I tightened that up for your vent line there, what the hell you want to call it. And then I guess our next step is to just, we'll be putting our fan shroud and fan back on, and we'll, then after that, it'll be putting everything back else back together. Okay, so we got her all dropped down in. It's pretty simple. Drop your fan in, kind of have that metal bracket going down through here, and then cut over and down. And this fan thing, I had to kind of push it. I brought it on an angle in and then over. Worked pretty good. Just make sure you pull your coolant tank or your washer tank up. Then we're just getting to, you can snug up the 3 bolts on there, and then the 4th one by the pulley there, you gotta kind of fiddle with it to get to start it. So that's what I'm working on. So we'll do that. Throw our coolant tank back in there, throw the washer tank back in there, throw them back in, and we should be pretty much good to go. There's 2 clips on the top that fit in right there and there to keep you close to your rad there. And I believe the torque on the what do you call those bolts? Maybe just the shroud bolts there. I think they're 18 foot-pounds also, which I'm not going to torque. It's just a plastic piece, so I ain't torquing it. Yeah, we'll get going. Okay guys, we're pretty much buttoned up. That's all in there. The fan shroud and stuff is all buttoned in. Got the washer fluid thing back down in. Make sure there's a tab at the bottom you line up. Just like that, but it's really long. A couple inches or so, 1.5 inches maybe. This will slide back in, put our hose back on, put our belt back on, reconnect our batteries, and we're ready to see if she's go time. Okay guys, we just attached both of our battery cables, and I gave her a couple bumps just to get the fan belt tracking straight. Burp burp, and then gave her a fire and let it idle here for 30 seconds or so. And I'm just gonna let it says that stuff sets 24 hours, so I don't got anything to do for even 12 hours tonight, so I'm gonna let her sit overnight before I actually get her up to temp and stuff. Let that stuff have a full cure in there, and hopefully the brand new crank seal don't leak, and hopefully the whatever you call it doesn't leak. Any of the cover doesn't leak, because yeah, it was a little bit of a pig to get on, but once I figured it out, it wasn't bad. You just gotta make sure you got her lined up properly, and she'll slide right on. So yeah, hopefully this is good knowledge for anybody, and I help somebody out with some stuff. Thanks for watching, and give me a subscribe if you liked it. Thanks. Schneid's 15.